The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Hello and welcome to the Connected Table Live. We're your hosts, Melanie Young and David Ransom. We are insatiably curious culinary couple. We travel the world wherever we can to bring you the people, places, wines, and foods we love to eat, drink, and explore, and we want to inspire you to do the same. You're watching live on our new YouTube channel, and you can hear all our shows on more than 65 podcast channels on demand. What, 13 years now? 14 years?
Yeah, 13 or 14.
But we keep...
So I call it the baker's dozen.
Baker's dozen. But what's great is we keep just going and doing amazing things. And so today is going to be a part of a series of shows. We're going to do about the wild western side of Tuscany, a region that we really have spent a little bit, not much time in. And
especially the northern part.
Yeah, especially that northwestern part. And we've been to Under Prima Toscana, and we've been in the south. And we've been to, we just got back from San Gimignano and Regina Rebelli. We'll do a show on that. But this amazing opportunity occurred for us to go to an area of Tuscany, as David said, the west and northwest part. We tasted the wines at Under Prima Toscana, but we had never been to see the land. And it was also focused more on a tourism angle versus promoting new releases. So we're going to take you on probably a 2, maybe 3-part series so that you can plan your trip as well. Ours was a private trip, and we really want to thank the Toscana Promozione Turistica and Strada del Vino, dell'Olio, and dei Sapori di Toscana, which basically is eating and drinking in Tuscany as a tourist. And they really organized a well-planned, thoughtful, well-paced tour for us to really meet producers and explore these regions and taste specialty products. It was incredible. But the important thing is we want you to do the same. So the purpose of these shows will be to tell you where we went, what we recommend, and how to do it yourself or have us help you. And we're going to do it 3 parts because there's a lot to cover.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot to cover.
Yeah. So let's start. We flew into Florence. We had one night in Florence where we caught up with some friends, and then we hit the road. And our first stop was the Collini Pisani. Now, Collini means hills, and the DOC is the Terra di Pisa. Used to be Chianti Pisani. And let's talk about our impressions. What do you want to start with?
I think we should preface it by saying a lot of people, when they come to Tuscany,
right,
and go to Florence and jump off to either travel and tour around and whatnot, head south,
right,
or southwest, even towards the southwest part of Tuscany. All very famous, like where Cortona is.
Cortona, Montepulciano.
That's a big destination
Siena,
for especially Americans.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the part of Tuscany along the Arno River out to the sea, which flows through Florence and then goes out to the Tyrrhenian Sea. Mm-hmm. That part of Tuscany is very fertile, and there's also a lot of wineries out there, mm-hmm. and a lot of culinary industry out there as well. So. And it's a great area to visit, but not a lot of people put it on their radar. There are people that say, "Oh, I have to go to Pisa to see the tower," which is in this area, right? And even our tour guide said, "Well, that's a 2-hour trip. You don't need to spend a lot of time in Pisa because it's just the tower."
Right.
And then there's Lucca, which is a medieval walled city we were in last year, which is gorgeous. We've done a show on that before, and I think Lucca is just one of the gems in Tuscany and in Italy as well. It's just a great little city. And then there's the regions surrounding all of that between Florence and the Tyrrhenian Sea coast.
And the mountains and the sea.
And the mountains. There are mountains, the Collini Lucchese, the Collini Pisani. There's a lot of hills in this area, a lot of wine made as well.
And the Apuan Alps.
But what
further north.
What sets this area apart, in my opinion, is that there's not a lot of huge producers that are making wines that have international reach and have a global following. These are small mom and pop producers for the most part that may have distribution outside the region and may have distribution in the United States or other countries, but not everybody does. So it's nice to find those within this pocket of wine producers and cheese producers and cookie producers, whatever it may be, right? Prosciutto producers.
Well, it's interesting because another impression besides it's less traveled, because people beeline it to Siena, Pisa to see the tower, Montepulciano, Cortona, so they go south. But proximity-wise, all the areas we're going to talk about in this specific show were about 90 minutes.
Yeah, at the most.
At the most. Some are 45. So it's just as easy to get to them. You do need a car.
As it is down to Siena or Montalcino.
You can go by train or car. We had a car because we like to stop. The other thing I noticed, and again, you've got these beautiful hills, but you've got that sea in the distance. You're closer to the sea, so the air feels different. It is warm. And you're surrounded by mountains. You've got this fertile valley. As you said, it's a great agricultural area and small producers. The other thing I noticed as we tasted the wines, David, there are fewer rules.
Yes.
The DOCs, there's several tiny DOCs, including some really tiny ones that we've maybe tasted one or two wines in Under Prima. But unlike Chianti Classico or Carmignano or Montepulciano or Montalcino, where they're very strict standards of percentages and grape juice, you'll find wines with more international varieties mixed with indigenous ones. You'll find field blends. The quality is great. It's just there's more what I call artistic expression.
Well, they're not saddled with guidelines and rules like everybody else.
Right.
There are some, but they're not nearly as strict as some of the big producing regions in Tuscany. And I think that's one of the charms of this region. People take a more American approach to making wine, shall we say? They can make whatever they want, wherever they want. And it's exciting to see what's going on there.
So we visited small producers and large. We're breaking the show into segments because we really want to spend some time in each. And we're going to do it by region. So you can plan. And if you go to visit Tuscany.com or stradadivino.toscana.it, we'll put these up on our website and blog, The Connected Table. You can find a lot of information. So our first stop is we talked about everybody beelines it to the Tower of Pisa in the city of Pisa. Well, we didn't go there.
No, we didn't go anywhere near it. In fact, we never went to Pisa at all on the entire trip.
We went to Terra de Pisa, the land of Pisa DOC, which I said was formerly Chianti Pisani. They're little regions of Patti. And it's known as the Collini Pisani, which is the Pisan Hills. It's located between Florence and Livorno. Livorno is on a coast. Terrific. We went last year. We went to Gorgona. The drive takes you through just stunning hillsides, and it's just very rural. You'll see some factories along the way because there is manufacturing, but it's quite lovely. The DOC itself, Terra di Pisano, was established in 2011, so it's not old. And you can find many styles of wines. Red wines still dominate. But you'll also find some really amazing whites. So let's talk about where we would recommend visiting.
Yeah, we went to 2 wineries in that region. Why don't you talk about the first? The first
was, and I'm sorry if I butcher names, pronunciations, Azienda Agricola Aldobrandi delle Azzoni Avogadro, which is lawyer, by the way, Avogadro. So let's just make it short. We met with Brando. Okay, this is a noble family, very noble family with a beautiful piece of land, He himself is the third generation producer, although he's descended from a noble family who came from northern Italy in the last century to make wine in this beautiful hidden gem surrounded by forests. It's really gorgeous.
It's really pretty there.
The family also has estates in the Marche, Veneto, Sardinia, Tuscany, and Trentino. And Brando told us that it's the largest in Marche. They're the largest growers of basil.
Lots of pesto.
Yeah, so they're the pesto kings.
Yeah.
Lovely man.
Yeah. Very nice guy.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting about the family. So his grandfather, I believe, bought the house that we visited and started wine production in that area.
Yes.
For his family. Although, as you mentioned, they have wineries all over Italy and producing a lot of different regions. But this is kind of a pet project for Brando. He and his brothers all work the wine business in different capacities and in different places. So his passion is making the wine in Terre de Pisa.
And we had the pleasure of sitting down with him. The house itself is his home. It's 250-year house called Villa Sole. You can visit, just to start, you can visit all of these wineries, tastings by appointment. They have hospitality experiences and different types of tastings. At this particular winery, there's also a villa you can rent. And they have a separate entity for that. So we tasted many wines. We won't go into too much detail. I think what we should do, David, is maybe highlight some of the ones. I don't remember if he has distribution in the United States, but for the purposes of this show, this is about visiting the winery.
Yeah.
And this is a tour. This approach is more touristic, as I say.
So you mentioned that he's got a villa that you can rent on the property. They also own a 14-room inn right across the valley from them. You can see it from the winery.
Le Soldele.
And it's called Le Soldele, which is and it's 14 rooms, and you could take a group there. You could have a wedding there.
Yeah.
It's a spa as well, I believe. And
we didn't stay there.
Great place as a place to base yourself, in my opinion, for jumping into the region.
And that's a good thing to do because there's really a lot to see. It was only the tip of the iceberg for us, so we didn't get to do as much as we like because we were on the go all the time. I think what impressed me about this winery, I don't know, all the wines were terrific. He has an interesting wine that we tasted that has two indigenous grapes that we don't get to taste as much, Calyx, which is a blend of Mamelo and Folio Tondo, which you get a lot of on this side of Tuscany. And it's a new release. I enjoyed that wine a lot. And I also enjoyed his sparkling rosé, 100% Sangiovese. Again, these are no big rules here on what percentages. And it's in the Charmat method. I thought it was well made for the Martinotti Charmat method. And you were just drinking fresh as Fragoli. Strawberries.
One of the hallmarks of Tuscany in red wines is Sangiovese.
Yes.
There's a lot of Sangiovese grown in this area as well. And it tends to dominate the red wines there.
Yes.
And he makes a couple of very nice versions of Sangiovese based wines, including that sparkling rosé that you did.
It was very
which
nice.
is actually a rosé wine.
Yeah.
Sparkling, and not a regular Chianti style Sangiovese.
No, we actually had a couple of sparkling Sangioveses, and it was like they were beautiful.
But they also tend to blend international varieties into their red wines as well. So there's a lot of Merlot grown in the region. There's a lot of Syrah grown in the region. One of his wines that I really liked was his Helianthus, which actually means sunflower. 100% Syrah, which is a real kind of super Tuscany style Syrah. For me, it kind of tasted like I was doing a Côte Rôtie out of the Northern Rhone.
Exactly.
It hit it right on the head.
It had those black walnuts, mushroomy, blackberry. I love that wine. I love it. I also liked his IGT wine, which is a blend of Sangiovese, Syrah, Merlot. You get those younger blackberries and bark, a little still young because it was 2021, but just beautiful. And of course, the wine we brought back. Now, we wanted to bring back wine from everywhere, and we did actually, because they gave us and we just hope the shipment comes safely in July. But the one we actually did bring back was the Baciamano, which means kiss of the hand, which was the Santorpe DOC Vinsanto. Honey, brioche, toasted almond, brown butter. Trebbiano is the grape. He is the only producer to make the Vinsanto in the Santorpe area. So again,
And-
tiny DOC.
And let's just also say that it's one of the most famous in Italy.
Yes.
It's one of the great Vinsantos made in Italy. It
Which is-
wins award after award every year, and it's just a delightful wine. And we feel honored that he wanted to give us a bottle to take home with us.
If anyone
So-
ever offers
so
you
nice.
their Vinsanto,
Take it.
accept it. It is an honor, and you are an honored guest in their home.
Yeah.
They're small, limited quantities. It takes a really long time to make a Vinsanto. We tasted many. There's a few I regret we didn't take and buy and bring back, but it is the quintessential Tuscan sweet wine to enjoy with cantucci, which is the biscotti, the sweet biscotti, which we're going to talk about shortly.
Yeah.
Love this winery. It was a great first stop. And the Colli Apuani, and Brando was an incredible host. You can visit again, put this winery on your list, Azienda Agricola Aldo Brandi of the Azonia Bagata. Okay, let's talk about the next one. I'll let you say the name
Well, then, because
because I keep butchering it.
well,
Practice saying.
I may not know Italian, but I know Italian wine. So here we go. So the next one, which is not too far from
No.
there, a little bit further on
Mhm.
towards the coast, also in the same region.
Mhm.
And we actually passed by it a couple of times before we actually went to it.
Yeah.
So is Cantina Fattoria Uccelliera, and
Which means.
which is birdhouse
Mhm.
in Italian.
Mhm.
So Fattoria Uccelliera is owned by the Poggianti family,
Right.
and was purchased in the night. It was an old farm and winery that was purchased in the 1960s by this family,
Mhm.
and it's still family owned. They make about 60 to 70,000 bottles a year.
Mhm.
They do export,
Yes.
and then they make some lovely wines. Now, I have to say, there's two Uccelleras in Tuscany.
I know it's confusing, right?
So it is a little bit confusing to me. The other one is in Montalcino.
Right.
So they make Brunello di Montalcino.
Okay.
And I've known that Uccelliera for 20 years.
Yeah.
But
This is a different one.
for the years that I've been going to Anteprima Toscana in the wintertime to taste the new vintage,
Mhm.
and I taste the wines from this region, I'm like, oh, Uccelliera also makes wine in this area.
But different
So-
family.
So I actually asked Tiziana,
Tiziana, who's the daughter.
who's the daughter and the owner, one of the owners of the winery. I said, so are you related to, and she said, no, we know of each other and we're friendly, but that's as far as it goes. Neither of us make each other's wine.
So this is a beautiful property.
It is
Again, they
gorgeous.
have Tiziana's sister handles the accommodations. It is an agroturismo,
Mhm.
which means you can stay at the winery.
They have a couple of villas on the property.
Yes, not to be confused with a wine resort,
Right.
which is a whole different ball game.
And this one's I feel this is a very hidden winery
Yes.
too. You know, there's not much that tells you it's there when you
No.
come in, and you have to drive down almost a kilometer of a driveway and rolling dirt road through the woods.
Well, it's surrounded by a
and
forest.
totally surrounded by forest, probably a lot of chingali. in there.
200 meters above sea.
And,
So it's like up there.
And but then you get to the winery, and obviously the wines are beautiful. We
Mm-hmm.
really enjoyed the wines that we had.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting family. They take a lot of pride and passion to put a lot of passion into what they do.
This wine, we tasted again, usually on average, we tasted about 8 to 10 wines per winery. I have to tell you, David, the one that just struck me is La Prima Volta, which is a Rosato. Maybe I was in a Rosato. It was hot when we were there. It was a 50-50 Sangiovese and Caneola. It's only the 6th vintage, and it was designed for Tiziana's fashion designer daughter, Benedetta, who designed the label. She's been designing since 16, and she designed this label at 16. It's a man kissing a woman's neck. Maybe that's why I love the wine. It is a stunning label, and the wine itself, it was like apricots and white peaches and a little spice. It's a sexy wine and a sexy label, and
Yeah.
it's called La Prima Volta, like the first time. So you know what was going on that label was about to happen after they drank the bottle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a loss of virginity.
Well, they make some lovely wines. You know, one of the things
Beautiful wines.
one of the things I found in this region a few times
Mhm.
was a grape made in a different color from what you would expect it to be.
Exactly.
And
So true.
and we found that at a few wineries,
Mhm.
and one of those instances was here. They do a wine called Nero and Bianco,
Yes.
which is a 100% Sangiovese Bianco.
Yes.
It's aged in steel. It's just free run juice from Sangiovese that goes into the tank for fermentation, so there's no skin contact, and it turns into a white wine.
I think this is
And
maybe
it's
the
just a
second time we've
delightful-
had a white Sangiovese.
It was a delightful wine.
I see an article in White Wines Made for Red Grapes. We had a white Melbeck recently.
Yeah.
I like that wine a lot too. I also love the juniper wines. There were several in that label. The one I liked was a blend of Sangiovese, Petit Verdot. Juniper means juniper. It was just a beautiful one with dark berries and cedar and tobacco. Another sexy wine.
Yeah, another thing that I liked about this area was because it's a fairly hot area.
Mhm.
The Arno Valley is pretty hot,
Yes.
especially in the summertime. If you've ever been to Florence in June or July, you know what we're talking about. One of the things that they grow well there is Alicante Bouschet, which is a hot Southern European climate grape, and they grow it very well there. And they put it into a couple of the different wines that they make, including an Appassimento wine that they make.
Yes, very good.
Which is called Poggio alla Pietra, and Governo alla Uso Toscano e Appassimento. It's 80% Sangiovese, 20% Alicante Bouschet.
Earthy.
But it's earthy, but it's got that touch of sweetness to it, and et cetera. It was a lovely wine.
So if you're traveling, Governo is the Tuscan term for Appassimento.
Right.
Very often the procedure, the style, the technique has different names in other regions. So if you see Governo, it's always on the label, and you should give those wines a try.
Yeah.
So it's really nice.
And why do they do that? Because Sangiovese can have some delicacy to it. It's not a super heavyweight wine. So they use that to add depth and longevity to the wines, especially maybe in years that they don't have the best turnout with their Sangiovese.
Yeah. So it's really a winemaker's technique. It's really lovely. So many wines here that we tried. Another thing we didn't mention is that their estate wines, some of their certain labels, they have birds on the label. That's another signature.
Well, all the labels are just beautiful.
Yeah, they're beautiful, but the bird labels are just really stunning. Yeah. Again, I think Benedetta, the graphic designer, has a lot of handle in that. She's very talented. She's working on a line of clothing too, which we kind of got a peek at. I like the Castellaccio. It's an IGT 2019. It was a Sangiovese Cabernet Sauvignon blend.
It's their Super Tuscan. It's the Super Tuscan.
Yeah, a lot of people, we talked to the vintners, didn't like the term Super Tuscan. There was a lot of eye roll about that, but
because it doesn't. We talked about it too.
We had a long conversation.
We had long conversations about that this trip because I think a lot of people equate this area and Bolgheri, et cetera, which is over in the western part of Tuscany as well, as being is where Super Tuscans really the home of Super Tuscans.
Right.
However, Super Tuscans have very different meanings, and Super Tuscans can be all over the map. There's no regulation for them.
No.
So you can.
And they're not always super.
And they're not always super. You can have somebody may call their $30 bottle of wine Super Tuscan.
Right.
And then the next person over has a $500 bottle of wine that's a Super Tuscan. Those are very different wines.
We had long conversations about that actually with one of the producers we're going to talk about.
Story for another day.
So here's a little side fun thing to do. It wasn't all wine. We did a little pit stop. It was Sunday, so it was a pit stop because some things were closed, to Collodi, which is the birthplace of Pinocchio. We all grew up reading the story of Pinocchio. It's a medieval village. It's where born Carlo Lorenzi, but he changed the name to Collodi, wrote The Adventures of Pinocchio, the story of a puppet. And when you go to this town, there's Pinocchios everywhere. Puppets here, sculptures here. There's
50-foot tall statues in the middle of town.
Amazing.
Huge.
Amazing. And there's also a Pinocchio Park. We didn't go to it, but you can take kids, and there's whimsical sculptures. The one thing we wanted to do, but it was closed by the time we got there, but you should go back, is the Villa Garzoni, and it's an Italian garden and the butterfly garden. And actually, Carlo Collodi's father was a landscaper. So there's a lot of history in this town, and it's built on a very steep hillside. And one of the most interesting things about it, we didn't see till we got to our next stop, which was this steep crevasse, I would call it, that one of the people described as a waterfall of brown houses. Just coming
It almost
down.
looks like Pinocchio's nose coming up the side of a hill.
Oh, Yeah, true.
Just a
Yeah,
thought.
true. We didn't buy anything. We
No.
didn't buy a Pinocchio.
No, we didn't. I don't think we need one.
Amazing. We were very good. But
However,
anyway,
there were a lot of them for sale.
Colodi, fun stop. And I wish we just had a little more time and lunch, but we went on our way. And we went on our way to San Gennaro, which is like the Feast of San Gennaro, to a really beautiful estate up on the hill, which is how we could see Colodi and the waterfall of houses, to Palazzo Bove, which is a stunning palazzo that is a big wedding destination. When you go in there, they have everything ready for a wedding. We could have had another wedding. It's all ready for us. And there's some rooms to rent. And the owners are cultivators of they produce beautiful extra virgin olive oil.
Yes.
That's their specialty.
They do not make any wine.
No, this is olive oil top.
They make nuptials and olive oil.
They make nuptials.
And they make beautiful olive oil.
Yeah. So Gabrielle Bove was our host.
Gabrielle and Chiara,
his wife. She cooked an amazing meal.
Yeah, it was just the four of us, and Andrea, our driver, who's an agronomist.
He's an agronomist, and he's also president of one of the consortia, or actually several consortia we learned.
So we so it was just the five of us sitting out in their lawn outside their villa, and we just had a lovely lunch under an umbrella and looking at the beautiful view out towards Lucca and the Pisan hills into the sea.
Yeah, actually, Andrea, you're right. He's an agronomist, and because this area of the Lucchese Hills, because we're moving into Lucca now, so from the beautiful landscape terrazzo-like garden and yard of Palazzo Bove, you can see Lucca in the distance. Lucca in this area is very famous for its olive oil, its Tuscan olive oil. So Andrea took us to an olive oil nursery.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, last year we visited the former home of the Bertolli family, which is in Lucca.
Yes.
Or outside of Lucca in the hills. So they had a beautiful estate where they lived and made olive oil from the region, and obviously sold it all over the world. The Bertolli family.
If you bring one thing back from this region, make it olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, a couple of bottles. It's so worth it. It's particularly when it's in a container that has a break.
Correct. There's a lot of olive oil made in this
Phenomenal.
region. They're olive trees. I think half the trees are olive trees. So it's a big industry. And also, I was talking about our driver Andrea, the agronomist. So he's an agronomist for two things: grapes and olives.
Exactly.
And he is one of the scientists that works with the nurseries in the region where we were. It surrounds Montecarlo and Lucca, so that they can, and they create olive trees and they graft olive trees and they ship them all over the world. For anybody who wants to start an olive grove, this is the place you go.
And we learned like one little tree is €7.
Yeah.
So what a great gift.
Yeah.
It was interesting. It was again that same Sunday that we went to Colodi, so everything was closed, but just seeing where all the trees go and shipped around the world was pretty interesting. This trip that we took on really took us deep into areas we never would have seen.
Yeah.
So Palazzo Bove, just beautiful. They can accommodate up to 300 for a wedding. We want to thank Gabrielle Bove. Chiara made a beautiful, most of it was just simple vegetables and boiled potatoes so we could try the olive oil. She made this soup, zuppa di frantoia, vegetable soup with olive oil. It was just a lovely afternoon.
It was a lovely afternoon.
Really lovely.
Yeah. That's a nice one.
Yeah. So that's a beautiful spot.
When you're thinking about Sangiovese in reds, the dominant white of the area is Vermentino. Although, they do make other white grapes there, a lot of them. But for the most part, this is kind of a Vermentino area, which is one of your favorite white grapes, I know.
I think Vermentino's just awesome.
And also one of mine.
Yeah. I know, because I fell in love with Vernaccia di San Gimignano recently.
So over lunch on the terrace at Palazzo Bove, we had a beautiful bottle of Vermentino.
Well, while we're on food, we have to talk about our afternoon at Caseificio Busti, which is
it's fun. So what is Busti? Busti is one of the premier cheesemakers in the area.
Interesting story. It started in 1955 by two shepherds with their flocks who decided they were a father and son. Alessandro Bussi and his son Remo, and they started the business making pecorino cheese. Pecorino means sheep, and this is like the land of pecorino. Now this is a big operation. It ships over it makes over 1.8 million shapes, usually wheels, but could be semi-shapes of cheese.
They make 5,000 a day.
5,000 a day. Unbelievable. Now 70 years in business and run by the third generation who welcomed us graciously. Casafecchio means cheese producer, like Frantoio was olive oil producer factory. And they source the sheep from select Tuscan farms. And we literally put on protective gear, head to toe, to tour the cheese making facility, which you can do. Other people can do. I think it's on a Monday and a Friday, and May it was on Saturday. So you can tour this factory by appointment. They produce 16 different cheeses. The graphic on each wheel of pecorino is a city, shows a city or village of Tuscany. In fact, our guide was the graphic designer. That was kind of cool. And they also make goat cheese, a cow sheep cheese, ricotta, and they do have a lactose intolerant line. It's all organic, carefully protected, and a great experience. And if you're visiting Tuscany, we would highly recommend booking a tour here and then having lunch, because there is also a terrific restaurant on
an on-site
site.
restaurant, which was packed because it was a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, it was.
So
It was.
Everybody was there with their family and enjoying a beautiful alfresco lunch.
It was the restaurant's called Il Rifocillo. It's also open for dinner Tuesday to Sunday, and there's a large, very busy retail outlet. Our meal was provided for us, so we didn't order off the menu. It was delicious, and it was designed to feature the cheeses. We had aplenty, and the salumi is phenomenal. And then we had some producers with us who brought their wines. One was Agricola Vigne in Chianti, it's a Castellana in Chianti winery dating to the 17th century. And Guido Rambelli brought two wines. He bought a Magnatum Pico Bianco. It's a blend of Chardonnay and Vermentino, which I think is a great combination. I love that combination. Aged 19 months in barrique. I thought it had a lot of saffron and kumquat notes. It was beautiful. And then he had a red wine that he thought would go really well with the truffle pasta, because it was starting summer truffle season, so we had some truffle pasta, and that was the Negro Pregiato Rosso, which was a blend of Sangiovese, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Merlot.
Yeah.
Beautiful aged in cement. A lot of the wines we tasted, there's a lot going on with cement aging right now, which I think adds a great aeration and freshness to the wine.
Well, I think people are starting to move away from putting wine through a lot of oak.
Yeah, or they're going to larger oak.
Or they're going to larger oak,
yeah.
which gives less of the oak
exactly.
to the wine and more of the aeration and aging, which is what you want, the softening. But concrete has been around for a while. Actually, it's been around for a long time, but it fell out of favor for a long time due to the advent of stainless steel to make wine. But now people are installing concrete tanks new in their wineries to make wine.
Yeah, we're seeing so much more of that.
Because they like what happens with the wine when it goes through concrete.
And that comment to you as we were tasting, and we go from one age to, barrique to no cement. And I said, wow, this wine has a freshness that the others don't. So Casafecchio Bussi is actually still in an area of the Pisani area. Pisani and Lucca are like right here. There's Pisani and Lucca right just north. Very easy. You're talking very short drives in between all of them. And we also met the producer of amazing artigianali Cantucci, Il Cantuccio de Federigo, an artisanal producer of Cantucci, which is the biscotti that you have with your Vinsanto. And he was so proud of his heritage.
He also brought a beautiful raspberry torte.
Oh, just beautiful.
Which was divine.
So Il Cantuccio de Federigo, we didn't get to visit Federigo.
So he's a fifth generation Cantucci producer in the beautiful town of San Miniato. We did not go to the town, but he came to us at lunch. And
a lot of people said it's a beautiful town, San Miniato. San Miniato, and the family is Paolo Gazzarini. They've been doing this Cantucci recipe for centuries, and he gave us 2 big bags of it to take home. And it was he was a lovely man.
One's already gone.
And one's already gone. And
We're working on the second.
what was nice was everybody is so proud of their products, and they just want to shower you with it. And whether it's their special bottle of wine to go with the truffle pasta, or the Cantucci to go with Vinsanto, I have to say, we did have to, the mother in the Boosie family wanted to give us this gorgeous book, and we couldn't take it back. But they're just the most generous people. And the good news is you can, Boosie is a very well-known name in the United States, and you can order their cheeses and find them in many
really amazing cheeses. All
places.
sheep, cow. I think they did some goat cheese as
goat.
well.
They do
So
a goat.
really,
yeah.
the whole gamut.
Mhm.
And but obviously pecorino is what they're most famous for.
We had a lot of pecorino.
Yeah.
With pecorino, try different ones because they change as they age.
They do. They
really
become very
do.
different as they age.
Yeah, and
I like the aged ones.
I like the aged ones more than the younger ones. They're just a bit sharp, kind of deep, but they're interesting. So we just took you through Pisa, and then we go up to Lucca. Similar, but north and even I think hillier. You're getting into steeper because you're getting closer to the Alps, but you're closer. And we learned when we went to Vini della Costa last year in Lucca, you get a lot of field blend wines in this area, and lots of different kinds of grapes. I mean, just about anything's grown there.
Pretty much, and what's nice about it is that you've got heat, you've got coastal proximity.
Yeah.
You've got hills, so you can really grow a lot of different types of grapes there. And one of the producers that we interviewed last year when we were there, Maestra della Formica, their big grape is Riesling.
I know.
And they grow it very high up in the Apuan Alps,
right.
which Lucca is right just outside of.
So we're moving north toward the Apuan Alps. Yeah. You've still got the sea to the west.
So we're on the north side of the Arno River now.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay, that's a good point. We're now on the north side of the Arno River. The river valley is very fertile. So we're moving north. We did an afternoon tasting at Fattorio Maionchi, Maionchi, Maionchi. How did I do?
You did well, Maionchi.
Thank you. It's in the Colline Lucchese, which is just north of Pisa. This is an estate, a very old estate dating to the 1600s, with a villa and gorgeous gardens on a hill with olive groves in the distance, as you can see views of Lucca in the distance, but it's very heavily wooded. It was formerly known as Villa Bambacari, and it was renamed Villa Maionchi because it was purchased in 1867 by Colonel Enrico Maionchi. He was a career officer in the cavalry. He was also a painter, and he taught painting. This was kind of his summer retreat, and then I guess his life after the army.
And his family still owns it, and it's now run by, I think, the fourth generation after him.
Well, his great-granddaughter, Maria Pia, really transformed it after the war. They, out of necessity, they needed to find a way to, keep everything going. And so she modernized the cantina, added a restaurant, a tasting area. And now it's a place where you can book tastings, but you can also have events. When we were there was a few tours, and there was a lunch getting ready to take place. There's some beautiful arbors where you can eat under the eaves, and a very large tasting room area that is lined with artwork. Some of it is the colonel, some of it's his pupils. There's a beautiful portrait of the granddaughter, Maria Pia. She was a beautiful woman. And autograph photos of celebrities who have visited this villa, including Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise, Luciano Pavarotti, and Barbara Hershey. I recognized her. So
obviously, it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
They do beautiful olive oils, but they also make wine.
I think their strong point is still the olive oil.
Yeah. And they make some nice wines as well. They did not make wine for a long time.
No.
And it has been revived by Maria Pia's grandson.
Yes, and their names are Andrea is the winemaker, and Francesco is overseeing the property.
Francesco Maionchi is the grandson,
and he was with us and gave us a tour.
Who talked to us and gave us our tour, etc. Massimo Matroni is their consulting enologist.
Yeah. 7,000 bottles.
Yeah, they're making
this is a small production, I think. And the olive oil was terrific. Some of the bottles have been opened, so that kind of may have changed some of the freshness. But I think the one that I liked the most was the Chardonnay Vermentino blend. I think they had I think they had a Chardonnay Vermentino blend. I'm looking at my notes. But anyway, lovely place to visit. They do special tastings. And, I know it was the Rosé Moscato de Hamburg, Rosado del Salvada, Dusky Pink, kind of like a rose blossom pink grapefruit. I like that wine, personally. Anything else about this winery?
Well, it's a beautiful place to visit, a great place to go have lunch and taste some nice wines as well. And it's kind of a off the radar property, I think, in a lot of ways. But it's only 25 minutes outside of Lucca. Yeah. So it's super easy to get to, and it's on a hill, and it's got a beautiful view. And
I think this is a great place to go for the afternoon, particularly if you're traveling with a group, or maybe 4 people, and you just want to sit out on a beautiful terrace. They have great areas to sit under the trees. So many flowers. Yeah. Just really, really special. And I liked the passion. They're so proud of Maria Pia, and they talked about all that she did, and they want to carry on her legacy. And throughout this trip, we met with families who just want to carry on legacy. Nobody's trying to do something new and different. They're just trying to keep the quality up and really beef up the hospitality. If anything, bringing more visitors.
Which you can see the passion that the new generation brings to it as well. Yeah. Yeah. So this place that we were, Vittorio Meonchi, is not too far from the village of Montecarlo, which is a very famous village. Yes. In the region, due to the fact that it was a very strategic place to build a fortress back in the 1200s or something like that. And so it's a beautiful medieval town, and it's where we started our day, the day that we went to Meonchi.
And it's interesting because so Montecarlo is the town. There is a DOC Montecarlo. We tasted a few wines there from Montecarlo at Anteprima Toscana, and I remember saying, "Wow, these are really, really great." But we had never been. It's very small. It's very remote. It's kind of just north and east of the Lucchese area, and actually it's in the province of Lucca, but it's a DOC within. And very steep, hilly, limestone sand vineyards because of the different altitudes, a lot of diurnal. We did a tour of Montecarlo and visited the fortress. And it's like the man that gave us the tour actually is the family that owns it. He lives in the fortress.
Right. He's the owner. He's the owner of the castle. It's been rebuilt, but it's called Rocca del Ceruleo. Yes, and it's a very famous 14th century castle, which his family bought in somewhere in the 1900s, and spent a long time rebuilding. And now you can take tours there, etc. And he lives there.
It's a charming town.
It was a lot of fun. But outside it is a lot of wine and olives.
And hiking. I noticed a lot of people hiking. So I think one of the highlights was this winery for me, Azienda Agricola Enzo Carmignani, not to be confused with Carmignani. The Carmignani family has owned the land since 1386. So it has been passed down generation to generation. The current steward is Elena Carmignani, who's a daughter, who was a woman who had to fight for the right to take over the property.
Yeah, and it's interesting because they're very easygoing, unassuming, lovely people. And you'd never think that their family had been farming that land for 1,000 years until you go to the village of Montecarlo and you see their name all over the walls. Yes. Because it was this Carmignani building, that Carmignani building. It was really neat to see that. After being with them and thinking of them, I could be friends with these people. They're so much fun to be with.
What's interesting about many of the Italian vintners is they may come from amazing genealogy, nobility, aristocracy, or just landed gentry. But they're farmers, and they're so proud of it. Elena.
And they work the land every day, especially in the case of Elena.
Elena is so full of energy. She took us around, bumping around in all the different vineyards, different altitudes, incredible slopes. I mean, great place to grow grapes. And we stayed at her agritourism. It was a 2-bedroom with a living room, very well, simple but well appointed.
And they have a few rooms on the property, and they have a lot of tourist activity as well at the winery. Yes. And a lot of groups come and people stay there overnight. I think we were the only people there the night that we stayed.
But I would recommend it because it's remote and you want to really taste all the wines, and you can have they offer tasting experiences with food from €25 to $55. Very reasonable. And yes, we saw a few people there and buying wine. We saw hikers along the way. There was a foot race going on.
There was.
I thought her wines were terrific.
She's a force. She's actually makes, I think, some of the best wines in the region. And she's been awarded accolade after accolade. The first wine she ever made was a Tre Bolgheri at Gambero Rosso. She's always been very highly regarded in the wine business. And it's interesting because, as you said, she had to fight for the right to do that.
She did. Her
father didn't want
her brother to have it.
Her father didn't want her to do it because he figured it was not women's work.
Yeah, and she works hard.
And
so
hard.
Federica was with her,
her
companion who works with her, and their Urano, URANO Sauvignon Blanc, IGT Toscana, was named best Sauvignon Blanc in Italy.
Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting. It was like lime and tomato leaf. The wines had a freshness and you just felt terroir when you drink these wines. I also loved the Capogiro, maybe I was in a rosé state on the Capogiri rosé, which a dusky pink rosado that she designed in honor of her daughter.
Yeah. And
it's a blend of Sangiovese, Syrah, and Merlot, which I think is interesting, David, because a lot of the rosés I try are usually single varietals.
Yeah.
But, and it's just beautiful.
Interestingly enough, remember I mentioned earlier that a lot of the freedom that this region has is being able to make international varieties. So they have Sauvignon Blanc, as you just mentioned. They also make a beautiful Chardonnay.
We had a number of these wines. So Elena cooked our dinner because we stayed there and it was a bed and breakfast. So Elena cooked our dinner, which she made some incredible dishes. One that I just loved was a ricotta stuffed with ravioli stuffed with pear and ricotta and pecorino drizzled on, shaved on top. And she served it with a Chardonnay. Again, here we are with international and indigenous groups called Intrigo. That was a great pairing.
Yes.
And the other one that she did a spaghetti arrabbiata, so spicy spaghetti with her CE Carmignano Estate Montecarlo Rosso, which is Sangiovese, and then a blended with Caniola, Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Syrah, Chilagello, and Malvasia Rosso. It's a mouthful. Really beautiful wine, cherry, anise, violets, tree bark, and it was beautiful with that wine. I mean, I think the finesse was just there.
Yeah.
Just
Wines
incredible.
are extremely well made. And you can tell the passion that the family has that they put into the land and into the wines they make. And they make wine in two places. One is at the winery that we stayed at,
right?
And then there's another winery around the corner that she works at in partnership with somebody else to make some of her other wines, and all under her label, of course. But really beautiful wines.
Yeah, if you go,
real gem for me.
If you go, do stay the night. She made us breakfast the next morning. It was incredible. We tasted this bread that looked like a pinwheel with like 3 or 4 different types of wheats. And it's a artisanal DOP bread, because in Italy you can have DOP wines and you can have DOP foods, an ancient grain
designated origin of production.
Exactly. And she made us an interesting flourless cake, because the Italians love sweets in the morning. This one, she was an example of povera cucina, poor food, that the women had to scrape up whatever they could during the really tough times during and after the wars, and there were many, because you don't realize how poor Italy was for so long. And this one was a flourless kind of custard torte with raisins. It was like a firm flan.
And that was also the provenance of the tricolor bread that we had.
Exactly.
Because during the war, they were forced to use other types of grains and other ingredients to add into the flour, because there wasn't enough flour. So they put things like chestnuts and other corn, et cetera, into the flour to beef it up. And that's what gave that bread its different colors. I
think, with all regions of the world, but particularly in Italy, where there was so much poverty for a long time, and much of it was, from the countryside. I mean, you find the incredible nobility at one end, but the other end, there you've got the countryside, the contadini, and they had to use whatever was available and be creative in their pastas and their breads and the grains. And I think Elena did a great job showing. I mean, her winery is close to Montecarlo village, but
it's right down the hill.
Yeah. But it felt remote. And I don't think, I think a lot of people maybe in Europe know about Montecarlo, but I don't think Americans do because, again,
This is,
it's a different direction.
yeah, but just remember, it's less than an hour from Florence.
Yeah.
So you leave Florence, you leave the airport and you drive over towards Lucca, and it's right there. Lucca's only an hour away.
So let's summarize this because we
Yeah.
got to. This is a region where this is the first of a series we're doing because we're heading north. We're going to take you to the top of where we went and the south in the next episode. But this is a region if you really want to go where there are fewer crowds, excellent food, wine, and beautiful nature everywhere. This part of Tuscany is a discovery.
Yeah.
It was for us, and I think it'll be for you. So put it on your, and as David said, and I underscore, maybe an hour or less from Florence. So it's accessible. So put it on your trip planning list and follow along and listen to the show again, of course, on all the channels, podcast channels, your favorite one. We're on all of them. You can see it at the Connected Table TV at YouTube. And our next show will take you on the rest of our tour through this incredible journey of Tuscany wine and food. So thank you for joining us, and thank you again to Tuscany Promozioni and our friends who organize this. We love to take you with us when we eat, drink, explore, and hope you'll be inspired. And always, of course, be and stay insatiably curious.